How are we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and this is a duel against TooHot, a pretty capable sorceress. We actually used to have quite a big rivalry back in the day. Whether or not we still do, I don't know. I'll find out next time I bump into him in the open world. But in the past, when he's bumped into me in Histria, he'll either call his friend or just try and duel me 1v1 and then shit talk me saying that I suck. You know, the whole usual, you're gear carried, you can't play if you weren't so gear carried. So I actually dropped to some I can't remember exactly, I have to look at the footage, but I think it was around 260 AP and 300 DP, which was less than what he told me he had. And it was a pretty good fight. It was pretty respectful at the end. We didn't shit talk during this fight. I think he realized, you know what, maybe I kind of know what I'm doing. I might not be the most amazing ninja, but I'm also not garbage. I'm what you call your middle-of-the-road guy with a lot of gear, but I have an inkling on how to play against most classes, which is why you find me have a lot of success, because when you understand how to fight against most classes and you have a lot of gear, you don't have to be super skilled to win fights. You just need to know when their openings are and just try to cover your own openings when they come at you. Another quick note, I know I've been talking a little while here, but another quick thing I'd like to mention is that you probably noticed that my content's being very slacking lately as well. Like, it's just, I'm not posting that many videos like I used to in the past. And that's because my sister and her husband are down with our now my 9-month-old niece. And the baby's getting a bit bigger, so I've given them my room this last over a week or so. And I've been in a different room, so I'm not able to record anything. So I haven't been able to record any new footage, and the Xbox my Xbox is full, and I just don't really feel like going through. I don't want to delete anything that's on there because there's a lot of good there's a lot of good memories I have on the Xbox, the footages I have, and every time I've deleted them, I always regret it. Like, oh, you know what? Even this was a 5-year-old art clip. That was a pretty good goddamn clip. Why did I delete that? So that's why the footage has been a bit lacking. They're going to be here for roughly another week. I don't really have any. I've done my best to try and cover this period with videos, but I really don't have much left on my computer to post on my channel at the minute. So I'm going to be splitting this one into 2 parts, and I have to get footage. I need to get footage for the Ninja Odyssey, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. I think it's just going to be the next Ninja Odyssey. I'll try and get some hunting in with some footage, like 3-4 whale hunts, and I don't know. After that, it's going to be, I'll just jump in a couple RBFs and just see if I can salvage any good clips out of that. I'll do my best to give the best performance that I can. Now, obviously, like, when you see my clips, you're seeing like the best I've done that week. It's not even the best, because there's I record a lot of footage and I don't record a lot of footage. So as this video is playing, I'm just going to talk about it a little bit for those of you that are interested on my process of making my little montage videos. I usually, when I go to RBF, I'd say 7 out of 10 of them I record. Sometimes I don't, because my computer's a bit full and I don't feel like going through deleting stuff. Then after a week, it's like my storage is full. So one thing I do really need to do is invest in some external storage to fix that problem. But then when it comes to making the video, like, I'll sit down. RBF is the easiest one, because like I'll just kind of sit down and I'll fast forward through it until I see myself get a couple of kills, and then I'll rewind and I'll be like, okay, I got 3 kills here. Were these good 3 kills, or were these 3 people that I one-shotted? So I'll go back and I'll be like, okay, well, this one wasn't that great. We'll go to the next one. Sometimes I'll, if I see that I killed like a good player, someone like Voriak is a good ninja, for example. Arjun Ninja is a good ninja. Like Big Bad Testicles is a good witch. I'm not going to name everything. There's a lot of good players. You guys, if you're in EU, you know who they are. So I'll watch those footages, and if it's like a good back and forth that's got, like, both of us are showing some good skills and good understanding and good positioning, and we're playing against each other really well, I'll include those as well, but obviously only if I win. And that is something I get criticized for a lot, is, oh, you don't show your losses. Oh, yeah, I mean, this is my YouTube, so I like showing off, like, my best moments, but I do also, like, post some full RBFs where you can see the mistakes that I make, the right calls that I make, the stuff that I miss. If you understand the game, you'll be like, oh, he should have done this there, but he didn't. And I self-criticize a lot. I spend a lot of time. One thing that's helped me get better at this game is looking at my footage. Like looking at this 1v1 that you're watching now, I'll watch it. I'll watch my RBFs, like after I cut my videos together. And sometimes, like if I know I've had a really good game, what I'll do straight after recording, I'll just label it like 1 or 2 or whatever, like good. I give it a random name so it goes to the top of the pile. And then from there, I'll watch that one and I'll really just self-analyze. So one thing I've been thinking about maybe doing in the future is once a week, just grab one of my RBF videos. Instead of putting in my highlight reel, I'll do like a breakdown reel where the whole 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on the length of the RBF, I'll be looking at it and be like, look, I made a good call here. This is the right thing to do. Or, oh, I shouldn't have done this skill, or I shouldn't engage this way. Maybe I should have used concealment over here to disengage or to engage, and stuff that I miss, like, oh, there's a group of people that weren't looking at me and I should have gone and tried to do something. Or if I make an engagement, I'd be like, oh, you know what? This was a very stacked team, and I maybe should have waited for my illusion of restraint to come off cooldown before making this engage, because if I waited, I had the potential of getting a couple of extra kills that I let go. Something like that. And maybe as well, to do that for other ninjas, if you guys want to send me your clips, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I know in a previous video that I talked about I also wanted to do like a long style video, but looking at the copyright stuff, yeah, I can get away with it because my channel's not too big, but I don't want to put myself in that position, just increasing the risk on my end. I know that I use a lot of copyright music sometimes, but I don't want to push it too hard. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing that. I had some ideas, I wanted to do some, like, to give you an idea what I wanted that to be was, it would have been an extremely manipulative type of video in the first place, and I would have put that disclaimer: this video is manipulative. Everyone needs to think for themselves. But kind of like what I'm doing here, but instead of me talking at the beginning, it would have been like the first video I want to talk about race, because I'm myself Middle Eastern, so I've experienced racism in my life, but I also have been on the other side of it as well, where I've not noticed. And I had an interesting idea planned out where I was going to show like a bunch of comedy sketches, a guy called Ralphie that I really liked, obviously Dave Chappelle, most people probably know, and a couple of other comedians that have touched on race in their comedy shows, but in like a light-hearted, funny way. Had like an hour footage of comedians, so you can get like a good hour grind and have a good laugh and like be in a good mood and have a good time. And then I wanted to put in like 30 minutes of a deep talk. Joe Rogan, as you probably saw in my last video if you watched it, Joe Rogan is a guy that I really appreciated and I appreciate. And even though there's a lot of stuff that when he's talking to his friends I don't agree with, but the effort he puts into that show and the people that he brings on and the influence that he has is pretty outstanding. And he's a good person. Like, even if you don't, my whole life I've grown up with people I don't agree with, they're still good people. We still have a laugh. And that's like a problem with social media, where these days if you don't agree with someone, like, like me as a YouTuber, you can just not watch you can just block them. I say block me, just not watch my stuff. Or if you don't like someone on Facebook, you can block them. I mean, life isn't like that. If you don't like someone but they're a part of your life, you can't just block someone at work. You can't just block a friend because you disagree with them over a certain subject, even though you've you've known them for X amount of years. But I wanted to kind of like deep dive into that and then talk about some of my past experiences that I've had, people, like the stuff they said to me, and some of the mischaracterizations that I find myself in with this whole new everything is racist kind of thing. I know everything's not racist, but if you're looking at YouTube and you're looking at videos, if you go down that rabbit hole, it's easy to have that mindset. And I've had to catch myself a few times recently where it's like, look, no, that's not actually that person being racist. Just because someone doesn't like you doesn't mean they don't like you because of the color of your skin. And that's a point that I want to make across with a few talking points. But like I said, it'll be a deep conversation. I'm just giving you a very basic outline of it here, but it would have been a very difficult, deep conversation to have. And I feel like just going into it raw, in depth, like I wanted to, would have been a bit too much. That's why I wanted to start with some comedy that focused around race, that the reason it's funny because it was based in some type of truth. And then on top of that, a proper discussion with people that are experienced in this field. Like there's a person that Joe talked to who's a lecturer, and teaching in that environment is difficult because you as his job is to criticize his students. And it's very easy if you're criticized, someone doesn't like you criticizing them. It's like, wait, why are you criticizing me like this, but you're not criticizing him like that? Is it because he's white and I'm not? And like, just to give a quick example, when I last year at uni, I remember I was outside the library with a buddy of mine, and there was a few people there, and there was this one guy, and he looked stoned as hell. So I went to like, oh, you've been smoking? And he got super defensive. He's like, what, because I'm black? And I was like, mate, listen, it's not because you're black, it's because you're 19. Like, I still smoke from time to time now. When I was your age, I was doing it all the goddamn time. It's got nothing to do with being white or black. But it's that trap that it's easy to fall into. And if you're not experienced with dealing with being accused of something, it can also make you look like you are what you've been accused of doing. So let me give you an example. You're in a supermarket and you're doing some shopping, and the manager comes by or a staff member comes by, and they accuse you of stealing. It's like, hey, have you been stealing? Let me see, empty your pocket, stuff like that. It's going to put you in a really awkward spot. And if you don't leave, like you have to stay there because of XYZ reason, most people will probably just get upset and be like who the fuck are you? And they'll probably leave. But let's say like you got kids, you need the food, you don't want to drive to another supermarket, you just deal with it. So you have to stay in the supermarket. Well, now what's going to happen to you naturally is that person's going to be looking at you because he thinks you're a thief, and then you're going to be looking over your shoulder all the time because you're like, hey, why is he looking at me? Which makes you, the individual in question, look like what you are being accused of, because that's what thieves do. You're looking over your shoulder, you seem nervous, you seem tense. So it's just, like I said, the video I wanted to do was everything that I've just talked about, but wrapped up in a much longer form. I think it's been about over 10 minutes now that I've been talking about it, but this would have been over like 30, 40, 50 minutes where I would have given a lot of examples of people actually being racist to me and people that weren't being racist to me, but I interpreted it that way because it's easy. It's just easy to do. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I'll try and get that Ninja Odyssey video out as soon as possible. I'll be showing the second part of this in a couple more days from now. For those of you interested to watch the second part, I don't know if I want to pursue this conversation that I've had in the future, because I wasn't just like, the first video was going to be based on that. The second video I was thinking to base it more on coronavirus, kind of just talking about, not myself, I'll be talking about it in the end with my opinion, but letting other people talk about, like news reporters, scientists, conspiracy theorists, all of them, like all sides of the spectrum, to show you like what these people are saying and how much misinformation is out there, and then trying to just pick things apart and make give you my own thoughts, and like, this is how I see the information, this is how I process it, and I come up with my own mind. Because you can't, like, the day, like, we live in a time where there's so much information being thrown at us just non-stop, that the easiest thing to do is pick someone you like, be like, I'm just going to agree with everything he says, and that's the end of it. But that's a very dangerous slope, because when people have that kind of following, it leaves them down a path, whether it's good or bad, depends on the person. But Alex Jones, for example, if some of you might know him, crazy conspiracy theorist, he didn't start crazy. The guy was a regular dude that was investigatory, he wasn't believing everything he was told, and he went down a path, and then people believed him, and people followed him. And then as time went on, he just went deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, and now he's led, I don't know how many thousands of people down this road with him, where there are some truths in what he says, but 95, 98, 99% of it is absolute horseshit. It's crazy. This is the problem with people like himself and conspiracy theories, is most successful people in that line of work, they have some truths, and they usually start from a place of truth, But with all the misinformation and all the people lying, whether it be governments, scientists, there are people that lie for their self benefit. Everything then becomes a conspiracy, and it just leads them down a dark. It usually leads them down a dark path. For one person that it hasn't is Joe Rogan, which I love, which is why I love watching him, because he's got his own conspiracies as well that I don't agree with too. But he takes the time to actually talk to real people that are experts or their experts on their field, and he kind of holds their feet to the fire, which is why I like watching him a lot. And I kind of just been rambling on a lot here. This was meant to be a quick 5 minute opener where I was talking about why the videos have been a bit lacking and show the rest of the PvP. But yeah, I've been talking for over 15 minutes now, so I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of the footage, and I'll catch you in the next episode.